Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teague. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gotzo, and welcome to RaceVerse coverage of Round 7 of Season 7 of the Dark Horse DW12 series. Coming today from the world-famous and very old and historic Milwaukee Mile. Joining me in the booth is our driver expert, the Catalyst, Andrew Wood. Andrew, good to have you back again here. Next week, he'll be driving one of the mini Indy 500s that is coming up in the month of May. But before we get you there, we got you here. Talk about Milwaukee, man. This is, it looks a lot easier than it really is to run this place. This place is actually quite hard.
Yeah, Milwaukee is one of those tracks where it's much faster than you think, but it's also a track where you have to drive really slow and have a lot of patience, especially when you want to get back on throttle for these two short straightaways. This track is iconic. It's a track that everybody loves. It's a fan favorite, and it's back on the regular IndyCar calendar this year, which is very exciting for everyone. So I imagine that people are going to be rared up and all sorts of excited for what's to come for the real life IndyCar series coming up in just a couple months here.
Yes. And of course, in the history of IndyCar, there actually been more IndyCar races here in Milwaukee than at Indianapolis. A lot of people don't realize that. For the longest time, even into the AAA and USAC years, they ran 2 races a year here. We'll talk about that here a little bit, but minute 30 left to play here in qualifying. Peterson on the provisional pole, 171.424. Stouffer right next to him, 171.2. Watching Jim Herrick make his warm-up laps to hit his teammate Craig Forsyth underway.
We have 16 cars here to qualify tonight. It should be a pretty exciting race. 16 cars around this place may seem like not so much, but on a very short track like this, the leaders are going to run the traffic rather quickly.
Exactly.
So it's something that the drivers are going to have to contend with all night, especially as it gets into the later stages of the stint.
There you see the weather on the screen. Track temp 79, air temp 66. So track temp shouldn't be a factor. What do we got for pre-race intelligence on fuel runs?
It looks like on a full fuel tank, drivers can do between 40 to 45 laps or so. I believe 42 is the number for the full fuel burn that I learned from some of the drivers on the grid. But if you really want to save the fuel, you could probably get to the high 40s. But if you want to do this on 2 stops, you're going to have to commit very early to lifting and saving all the fuel you can. I'm not sure it's going to be the fastest way around here, but some of these drivers have done weird things in the past, and it could be a good strategy play for any sort of late stint caution.
Yeah, even if you go with the 42 lap number, you're making 3.5 stops. So that means you're making 3 full stops and then a 4th stop there for a splash at the end. So we have just gone green and checkered now in this session. Qualifying is over. Let's get the starting lineup in here for the 150 lapper here at Milwaukee. Eric Peterson with the pole, the speed of 171.424. That speed he set pretty early in the session. It held out. Matty Wagner, P2, 171.317. Look at the difference there, 0.013 in the time. So close. In fact, everybody in the top 10 wasn't even a tenth of a second separating them. Rafi Eckert, 171.2. Chris Stouffer, 171.2 as well. Craig Forsyth, a 171.18. Mark Cohn, last week's winner, 171.128. Jim Herrick on a P7 with a 171. Gary Lovern, P8 with a 171 flat. Doug South, we'll talk about a little bit about him in the race as well, and his sponsor. He went a 171 flat. Mark Murphy back there in the RaceVerse American, as he called it, 170.9. So he's the first out of the 171 bracket. He is in P10. Moving on, Charles Teed, 11th. Eric Schaus, our points leader, I believe, 12th. We'll look at the points here momentarily. Jeff Heisong, 13th. Pagero, 14th. And Casey Pahutsky decided not to turn a speed in qualifying, and he is 15th. And not lined up, lined up, but not on display for a speed is Joseph Morales. He should line up 16th. He did not turn a qualifying time either.
Yeah, you said that the top 10 was separated by a tenth. It's actually the top 12 that's separated by just under a tenth. So this is a very competitive field here. Some of these guys in the bottom part of the top 10, or even 12th place Eric Schaus, our points leader, as we mentioned before, he is probably devastated that he cranked a little bit of too much wheel in one corner just to knock out a couple more of those hundredths. Right. And an easier, straighter line could have gotten him 6 spots higher. So unfortunate for that, but I'm sure that some of these guys are going to be wanting to move forward as best they can.
A long time. This is a long race, 150 laps, 150 miles, very flat. This is what turn 3 at Poconos profiled after one of the turns here at Milwaukee.
Is that so? I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. Turn 1 is Trenton, turn 2 is Indianapolis, and turn 3 is Milwaukee.
I think we're at Pocono, Gary.
What's that?
Milwaukee, we're on a flat track here. There's only 2 corners.
Right. But that at Pocono, in terms, Pocono's turn 3 is modeled after one of the turns, either end of the turns here at Milwaukee. Hopefully I didn't misunderstand. We're going green.
A little bit.
And we got Peterson taking the lead down on the bottom early, and so we got Wagner going down to the bottom and protecting the low side. That is the fastest line, and here comes Chris Stouffer to follow Wagner on through to third. He's going to go to the high side in P3, turns 3 and 4. And at the completion of the first lap, it is Eric Peterson.
Yeah, we saw Iker Pagero make a couple moves on the outside in turns 1 and 2 to start the race. He's sitting nicely in P11 right now, but this is quite a hornet's nest from about P2 on back. Everybody's too wide going into the turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, what I was trying to say before is that Pocono modeled their turn 3 after the turns here at Milwaukee. That's what I was trying to say. If it wasn't very clear, my mistake. It's been a long day. But when they chose to build Pocono, they really built it for IndyCars in mind. And they chose 3 of the iconic IndyCar tracks at the time, which were Indianapolis, Trenton, and Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think you actually described that just fine. I think I was just so focused on what the starting lineup was that I thought we were starting to talk about us driving at Pocono, but we're here in Milwaukee tonight.
Heisong just almost became a victim of Iker Pagero going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the high line and the low line here. Some of these guys are not going to want to burn out their tires so easily racing high. But some of these guys are trying to conserve tires. You can see that some of these drivers in the middle part of the top 10 here are racing a little bit more conservatively. They're trying to save their tire life, racing right up to the curb. But some of these guys are really going for it right here. Back in P9, you see Jim Herrick is really pushing that low line on the inside of Eric Schaus.
And as these tires go off that turn 4 and turn 2 wall, come up to greet you rather quickly on exit.
It's very competitive here. We got Eric Peterson with quite a lead out front. He's about 1.5 seconds ahead of Matt Wagner in P2. These guys seem to have thinned out a little bit now, so we're not going to see a lot of movement here. Now is about the time where you got to start protecting your fuel and your tires, especially for these guys that want to try and make it on 2 stops.
This battle back here from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th is all nose to tail at the moment.
You mentioned Eric Schaus starting towards the back there. He's up 4 spots now, up to P8, so he's made up a couple of spots in this very competitive grid. And I think he might actually be able to pick up a couple more spots as he messes up a little bit there in turn 2. And
Herrick on the high
Jim
side.
Herrick is coming for it.
And a little bit of a blinking there. Herrick getting the momentum on the high side, but the position goes back to Schaus. Herrick's going to look now low this time in the 1. See some cars going down to that little rumble strip there that separates kind of the pit out road and the racetrack. You can get the car to rotate if you run over that a little bit, but you can't ride on it.
One of the things about this track that you have to keep in mind is that it's such a rhythm-based track, so Eric would have gotten a little bit messed up there going a little bit high, and it might have thrown his rhythm off for at least a lap or so. So once you get that back, you can see he's starting to pull back away now from Jim, and as you see, Murph is right there behind Jim trying to make a move, but yeah, Eric just had a little bit of a bobble. Jim tried to take advantage of it, but unfortunately he couldn't quite do it. But I think Eric is really on the move here. I think he's going to try and see if he can protect his tires enough, but also try and find 1 or 2 spots more as he moves his way forward.
And speaking of Eric, we'll look up front. Eric Peterson is now leader by 2 seconds.
As the leader at this track, you want to just try and put as much distance as you can to the car behind. And Eric Peterson is definitely doing what he can to distance himself. He may be trying to burn his tires out a little bit more, but he's banking on no cautions that would equalize the field. And if he can put himself in a spot to get a nice buffer for the first round of pit stops, I think he will find himself victorious no matter when the cars decide to undercut him from the back.
And he has the fastest lap so far, a 21.3, and he is about 9 seconds from encountering the end of the lead lap, which will be Iko Peguero. He is back to 16th. That's how close and fast that they'll encounter lap traffic. You kind of mentioned at the front, 16 is kind of like the perfect number for this place. We've seen back in the days when the kart races would have, often the kart races back in the day would often have more than the normal number of entrants because this was typically the race after the Indy 500, and sometimes those entries that had that were Indy only entries, if they got enough winnings, they would typically come to Milwaukee then as well. So typically Milwaukee had one of the larger fields in the regular season, and it was mainly because of the one-offs. If they did a good job, they would be rewarded with another race here at Milwaukee. And but I can't imagine 20, 30 cars on this track. You'll be in lap traffic and almost at the drop of the green flag.
We're talking about the fact that the real-life IndyCar series is coming here, and we're up to about 25, 26, 27 cars per race there. So
yeah.
I think we might put that right to the test as time goes on here. But actually, I seem to recall there was some sort of stat that the Indy 500 winner never really performed very well at the Milwaukee race the week after. And I think that had to do with a lot of the press coverage that the drivers went to for the whole week. Instead of preparing for the next race, they were so busy and their minds were kind of elsewhere trying to keep track of their schedule and everything like that. So, yeah, we didn't come right off of an Indy 500 here, but some of these guys may be thinking that there's some guys predisposed and thinking of something else, and they may want to try and capitalize here.
I do have that stat, as a matter of fact. The career wins leaders here at Milwaukee in IndyCar history. Roger Ward, that's a name we never talk about at a lot of the tracks we go to. Has
Couldn't
7
tell
wins.
You who that is.
3-time Indy 500 winner. But he has 7 wins here over the course of his career. 9 drivers won more than in one sanctioning body. So we had several drivers that won here in USAC and in CART. One of which is Juan Montoya, who won the IndyCar race one week And then the next week, this is 2000, came here for a kart race and won that race in kart. So he won the 2000 Indy 500, and the next week came here in a kart race and won that race. But 10 drivers managed to back up their win at Indianapolis with a win here. And one of which, I believe the last one of which, is Juan Montoya.
I actually seem to recall that 2000 race being the time where they talked about that stat, that everybody in the 90s basically won the Indy 500 and then came back to not do so well at the Milwaukee race. But that was also at a time where there was all sorts of split drama and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, back to this race here, I think Eric Peterson is still holding quite strong at just over a second lead. Matt's closed that down.
Yeah, yes, he's chopped it in half.
But we have Iker Peguero up ahead about half a straightaway, so we're going to see some lap traffic coming up here shortly for the leaders. Seems that most of the field has kind of strung out a little bit. I really don't see much fuel saving going on, so I don't see many people. I don't see many people going past this 42 to 45 lap range. So everybody's on a 3-stopper right now. It all just depends on how you want to try and undercut your opponents ahead. So, if it were me, I would probably want to pit somewhere in like the mid 30s, like lap 35 or so, and get this whole train going and see if you could beat someone out of the pits. Just try and do a better pit stop than the drivers around you, and make come out with a couple spots difference from where you are right now.
Riding on board with Matt Wagner. Lifts a little bit on the exit of 4 down the front straight.
Any little bit helps, right? So
yeah.
if you know you're catching the leader ahead and you can save a little fuel in the process, that'll give you a couple extra laps to stay out if you so choose, if your tires really aren't screaming too much. Or you could just pit at the same time and take less fuel, which would shorten your pit stop a little bit. So
watch this line for Peterson. Watch this line for Peterson in 1. Watch him as he get. Last time he actually went below the rumble strips, so the left side wheels went right on the rumble strips, and won there. He didn't do it this time. I think he's in the wash now, Peguero, and he's trying to get that car to rotate. Of course, this is the first time today that he's encountered lap traffic.
When you come up to a car entering turn 1 here, you got to try and gauge and measure their speed, their line, all sorts of stuff to try and give yourself the best opportunity to put the car a lap down if you must. So it looks like Eric is taking the lower line into 3 and 4 here, and I think Iker might try and pull over and let him go. I would predict he'd be staying high exactly as he is.
Yeah, there he goes, right on the rumble strips to kind of get the car to rotate. I don't hear Wagner shifting. I think he's just staying in 1 gear at the moment. Normally, when I've raced here before in the past, whether it be the 18 or even this car, there was a great deal of shifting going on, but he's keeping it in 1 gear at the moment. Does that help at all with fuel saving?
It definitely has an effect on it for sure, but if you're in second place and you're trying to keep tabs on the car ahead, you want to try and keep momentum more than anything. You could save some fuel if you're keeping the same amount of momentum going through the corners, and as you see now, Matt is within a second, so he's able to keep up and keep in the draft. Like, draft may not seem such a big thing on such a short track like this, but it actually does matter, where you could stay and get the same amount of speed just sitting behind a car that you can if you were actually racing full bore.
And last week's winner, Mark Cohn, now looking on the backside of Christopher. Cohn to the inside. And he should pull that one off. Stouffer's going to be in an odd position with Peguero there. Actually, he might be able to use that draft to help him pull down the back straight. Peguero gets out of the way, side by side through 3 and 4. Getting close quarters through there. Good handling by both those guys. Position belongs to Cohn, but he doesn't quite own it yet. He hasn't quite cleared him. And now he's cleared him.
Great racing by these two guys. Stouffer tried to hang on the outside, but it looks like all the grip is on the inside of the track right now. No matter how you try and take the corner, I think taking the inside line is the best way to go, even with the state of the stint that these guys are in with the current tires they have.
If you enjoy RaceVerse coverage of the Dark Horse DW12 series and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future RaceVerse iRacing broadcasts. Big week this week in broadcasts. Not just for RaceVerse, but for me. I will be actually getting to call the qualifications for the ERL and ERN's presentation of their Indy 500 coming up next week. So that should be a fun time. Get to put all this useless Indianapolis Motor Speedway knowledge to work.
Looks like Mark Cohen's lap times are actually starting to increase a little bit, so he was definitely holding back a little bit from where he was behind Stouffer. So I think he actually might be trying to close on this group ahead. He's last week's race winner. He has a bit of confidence, and I'm sure he's tried to strategize quite a bit to see how he can pick up a couple spots here. So Mark is starting to move forward a little bit. His last lap was 21.6, and he just hit a 21.7, which kind of matches the leaders a little bit.
Yeah.
But every 10th counts, especially if you're trying to catch some cars ahead. And if he has a good pit stop, he might be able to find himself ahead of one or two cars.
Well, let's fast forward to pit stops just a little bit. Tell me about getting on this pit road.
It's definitely something that you need to practice. You can't just come into a Racing Milwaukee here and just expect to pit cleanly. So when you come out of turn 4, it's wise just to stay to the left, try and roll yourself down and enter pit lane pretty cleanly. So there's a little bit of a notch there as you turn into the pit entry. It's easy to do if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can easily find yourself inside those barrels right there on the pit entry. So
it is like when you're at full speed, it's a little like threading the needle through there.
It looks like Chris Stouffer may be one of the first people to pit here as I'm listening to the driver comms. So lap 39 looks like he's about to come in.
There he is. It's like threading the needle. You have to aim the car and get it on the rev limiter, or the speed limiter, excuse me, and then keep it out that far right lane. Now find your spot, make the turn in, hit your marks. And that's just half the battle right there. Now he's going to get the service done, new tires, full of fuel. And then when he gets off pit road here, watch this. You see the green cones coming up right here. Going to disengage the limiter. The car will tend to spin out right there immediately if you're not very careful. I know a lot of drivers tend to do an immediate shift to second gear to kind of alleviate that. It does slow down your pit out time, but it is a safer way off. But how many times have you raced here, Andrew, and you've seen in these pit stop exchanges where someone coming off a pit road lights it up because they come off that limiter and they have too much pedal into their car already? There's one right there with
Jim Herrick right in the tire wall.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that drivers like Eric Peterson that we were watching before that was taking that curb in the middle 1 and 2. Once these cars start pitting, you find yourself in a situation where you have to actually keep track of the cars that are leaving pit lane, because if you try and take that curb and there's someone on the access road, you're now impeding and or running someone over. So
Peterson pit road.
It's definitely one of those things where you have to kind of be mindful of what everyone around you is doing, which is not easy to do.
Peterson was on the button very early. If you notice on some of the shots right before he went into pit road, his attenuator light was already blinking, so that means he was on the button. Either that or it was all caution, and there was no caution on the racetrack, so he was on the button. So, but he made a very slow and calculated pit stop, whereas Forsyth is going to beat him off pit road, and maybe not. Well, we'll see how this one works out. There they go.
Eric gave him quite a bit of room there.
Yeah.
Trying to be a little courteous. Eric knows he's fast. He doesn't have to do anything wild to keep his position, and he's had a couple of bad races recently. So if he keeps himself in a spot where he knows he could be, it's going to be a good result for him. But let's see where Stouffer winds up with all this, as he was the first one to pit, and he possibly could have undercut some folks. It looks like actually Stouffer is ahead of Forsyth right now. So Stouffer is now jumped both Craig and Eric Peterson. So as these cars continue to pit, we'll have to watch Stouffer and see if he picks up any more spots.
We got some more on pit road. Mark Murphy on pit road. Eric Schaus on pit road. Charles Teed on pit road. So watching Stouffer. Stouffer's going to on pit road. He's encountering all of these cars that just stopped. Rafi Eckart's the only one who has not stopped, and he is right there in front of Stouffer. So Eckert did stop. He stopped at lap 45. So Eckert, by virtue of a very nice stop, is now out in front of Stouffer.
This whole entire top of the field has completely shifted. We have Eric Peterson now sitting in P7 from the lead, so he didn't have a good pit stop, or he might have stayed out too long for some of the drivers that pit early and undercut him. So we now have Rafi sitting in P1.
Yeah, I think Eric took a very calculated and safe, conservative entry in the pit road and everything, because he was on the butt. Ooh, I thought Eckert was going to hit the wall there. He was on the button well before getting to the line. Of course, he was using that to help slow him down, and you could clearly see behind him Forsyth kind of closing that gap. And, of course, now look where Forsyth is and look where Peterson is. So I think he took a conservative run on pit road, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. That means that, you're not going to make the mistake of speeding on pit road. Well, some of these other people that do the last-minute braking at the cone might happen to get that speeding penalty and cost them, whereas something more conservative is a lot safer, of course, but it's going to cost you some time. It's just the approach you want to take, I guess. Maybe next time he takes it a little bit faster. But after resetting, Eckert is your leader. Stouffer is P2. His teammate Forsyth is P3. Matt Wagner started in the front row. He is P4. Mark Cohn is up one spot from where he started to the P5. Schaus is up 6 spots. He is the biggest gainer of the day in P6 there. Peterson started from the pole, led the entire first stint, up P7. Mark Murphy, P8. Lovern, all by himself there in 9th. And Teed, kind of all by himself in 10th. That is your top 10 at the moment.
Not much has changed in the last couple minutes here. It seems that people are kind of filing right into their respective spots. Eric Schaus picked up another couple spots, so now he is your biggest mover from P12 to P6, up 6 spots. So nice pit stop rotation for him, and he's finding himself kind of hanging with this pack from P2 or so to P6. So if he could save the fuel in the tires and have an even better run on the second stop, he actually might find himself in a good spot.
Let's take a look at the points situation as they go into today. Eric Schaus is your leader. Matt Wagner, P2. Chris Stouffer, P3. Jari Brubacher, who's not in the starting lineup, is P4. Craig Forsyth is P5. Craig probably will not pass Jari, but he will definitely cut into his lead or the deficit that he has the Jari. It's 197 to 169. Santos, Teed, Peterson, Pahutsky, and Swinson are your top 10.
Definitely a disappointing race for Schaus last week, and he dropped a little bit, but he still finds himself sitting in the points lead right now, and despite a pretty poor qualifying from him today, he's finding himself racing right with the leaders within a few seconds. So I imagine if he keeps it up, he'll find himself with a good finish.
Stouffer has the purple lap, set of 21.3. That's the purple number 2 next to his name on the tree to the left. Lap traffic is encountering, or the leader's now encountering lap traffic, and I think Stouffer got the aero wash of Pagero. That opens the door for Forsyth down low. Forsyth is probably going to get the position. Not quite, not clear, but they're still racing side by side at the line, and the Stouffer holds them off. Forsyth tucks back in, going to go high this time and do 1 and 2. Now,
remember at the last lap last week with these two, Stouffer tried to move and it didn't really work out so well, so these two are finding themselves within battle yet again, and hopefully it comes out a little better this time.
And now Matt Wagner has joined this battle.
Mark Cohn and Eric Schaus are not far behind.
Yeah, you're right. I was just getting ready to put the camera on Cohn there. He is right there. A very interested looking party there going on there. Forsyth to the inside of Stouffer going into 3. 58 of 150 in the books already. We are cruising. That's what happened when we get a lot of green flag racing. And when are we looking for next stops already? Next stops are, again, as we stay green, not that far away, really.
Yeah, I'm checking. I want to make sure I want
3 wide, 3 wide to 3. Oh, boys. Wow.
I'll let you take that one away and explain it.
I just, there was they managed to hold all their lines. I mean, those are three really good drivers, three drivers that are very, very skilled in the open wheel IndyCar, whether that be the 18 to 12 or some of these guys even in the IR05, and they managed to each hold their line in a three wide abreast battle for position going through 3 and 4. You're really not supposed to do that, but they held on. Stouffer might have just kissed the wall in 2.
Very close, but I don't think quite enough there. And I'm sure they're getting very frustrated with this lap car up ahead that's not giving them any sort of luck, which is allowing Rafi to pull away lap by lap here. And now the gap is about 4 seconds. But Stouffer was our first pitter last go-around. He pit at the end of lap 39 into lap 40. So I would say in the next
20,
probably 10 laps or so, 10, 15 laps, you're going to see Stouffer come in again. As long as he pits by lap 75, he's right on the money to do the 3-stopper, which we're going to see everyone do tonight. So I think Stouffer will come in probably around like lap 76, 77 or so, I'd imagine, especially if he needs to find some way to get out of this big battle he's in.
No tire limits. They can throw on as many sets of rubber as they need to. Cone to the inside of Forsyth, going in the 1 now.
And Craig is one of those guys who will just hang in there, and he has the ability to save tires and fight off anyone he so chooses. So he can turn up the wick when he wants. Craig. As he comes very close to the wall. Commentators cursed him there because Cone's going to take P3 from him.
Of course, Cone driving that Tom Sneva throwback. Tom Sneva is actually, I believe, one of the drivers that did back up his Indy 500 win with a win here in Milwaukee. He won his lone Indy. Saw that.
Very, very close to contact there, but they... Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I saw it. We had it right there. I don't mind the reaction because I was kind of thinking the same thing. But no, Tom Sneva as well backed up his lone Indy 500 win in '83, I believe, with the win here. I think it was a last lap pass even. I have to go back and watch that. But a very exciting. I know the history of IndyCar Milwaukee races haven't been terribly exciting, but there have been some races before in the past. That's one of them. Check it out. It's on YouTube. The 83 Milwaukee Indy 200 here.
Yeah, it looks like Rafi is flying.
Oh, he's gone.
Now.
He's absolutely gone.
He's doing 21.4s consistently lap after lap, and the guys behind can only manage a 21.6, so he is putting a nice gap on the cars ahead, and his tires don't seem to be bothering him at all. So he's going to be the one to beat at this point of the race. Things might change later on, especially if we get a caution, but looks like Rafi is on it right now.
And Casey Pahutski in that is an old throwback for Ryan Hunter-Reay right there.
That looks like the first car I saw Ryan Hunter-Reay driving at the first Indy 500 I went to.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Back in mid 2010s. Yeah. Looks like Joseph Morales, maybe the next car to go one lap down to the leader here.
Yeah, he's in that Marco Andretti throwback, I believe, for the Nesquik car.
He's having a pretty quiet race as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. He's moved up a few spots where he can from his starting position and kind of hanging in there, staying out of trouble, and staying on the lead lap, which at any point that could be very helpful if he gets all that track position back. I believe we're going to be coming up to pit stops again here within the next 3 to 4 laps or so. Look for Chris Stouffer to be the first one to come down pit road if he decides to keep on his 39 or so lap strategy. It'll be probably end of lap 78. Or he may try and run this one very long, especially because he has clean track right now. He may want to just run the tank dry and see what happens from there as long as his tires are hanging in there.
Real quick, let's give a shout out to Doug South. His sponsor is the Open Medicine Foundation, which is an organization that leads the largest worldwide nonprofit effort to diagnose, treat, and prevent chronic complex diseases. One of the diseases, unfortunately, Doug suffers from, myalgic encephalomyelitis. I hope I said that right. Now, I pretty much did, and Doug says it's hard to say, but it's even harder to live with. And I believe he has a very good point. But he has had this condition, and it does make sometimes sim racing for him very hard, and he is out there giving it a shot on the outside of the top 10 in that OMF-sponsored car of his. And it's good to see him in the lineup. He is a native Hoosier, just like me, but he is relocated down to Australia. So he is dialed in from a long way away today.
Great to have someone on the grid from the other side of the world, especially competing in such a competitive series as this one. Probably gives him a lot of pause to see exactly all these very competitive drivers and passionate people around him to try and strive towards something. So great on Doug.
Meanwhile, back up front, Rafi Eckert now extends the lead to 7 seconds. And that Leaner Energy livery of his. He is the defending DW12 champion of the VOR DW12 series, so he knows how to run these cars very well, as he is the current reigning champion there right now. And he is our current leader by 7.5 seconds now, and he has right in front of him Jim Herrick. Joseph Morales. Not too far down the road from him, so he'll be encountering him very soon.
I was going to say pit road. Yeah, I was going to say that it seems to have settled out a little bit here. Rafi is taking quite a lead, and I'm not sure what some of these guys in P2 to P6 need to do to try and outsmart him and catch him, but they got to figure something out very soon because we're more than halfway through this race now, and it seems to be that some of these guys haven't quite figured it out.
Yeah, it's not very often we see a wampin like this on an oval. I mean, that's 8 seconds might as well be 10 miles.
Looks like a nice clean run through the pit lane for Craig Forsyth there.
Cone, Murphy, pit road.
Yeah, so it looks like these guys have kind of gone just about halfway with 2 stops, so we're going to expect one more stop here. So, yeah, some of these guys want to undercut a little bit. I imagine that's why they're pitting earlier than they need to.
Murph. Not sure what's going on with Murph on pit road.
That seems a little off-kilter.
Unless he had to bail for some reason. Go back to Rafi, his leader by 9 seconds now. Matt Wagner up to P2. There's Matt on the front straight with Schaus. They're all by themselves. This is a battle for second.
Watching the replay with Murphy there, I don't quite know what happened because he kind of paused right where he had stayed there, and now he seems to have towed into his box.
And our pole sitter is out. He is disconnected.
Yeah, everything seems to be happening here right now.
Yeah.
Gary, it looks like quite a bit, just kind of shooting the breeze here. So I'm going to take a look back at Peterson and see if I can catch anything. Or if he just had some sort of emergency that he had to run off to as well. Looks like he might have had a disconnection a couple laps ago, which is so unfortunate for someone who is running quite well there.
Yeah, I remember as just debugging here, getting onto the service and wanting to make myself reliable, and Eckert blinks out right there. Has his front wing, okay, now it reattaches. I remember going round and round with my ISP, just trying to get the optimal settings on my line that would equal that was on my cable modem, which I personally owned. And going round and round with them just to kind of optimize everything, and it took some work. But if you don't have a good connection, I mean, you're kind of seeing what happens. Well, Rafi's not necessarily a bad connection. He's just coming in from a million miles away right now. He's down in South America.
Watching a pretty stiff battle here with Joseph Morales and Doug South. Looks like they're staying out, not quite pitted yet, but they're completely going at it here, side by side through 1 and 2, and then again through 3 and 4. I think Morales might have a run down the front straightaway here.
Eckert, pit road.
So it looks like Eckert might have done the full 42-42 as we're on lap 87 now. So he's running the tank out dry each way. So when he comes out of the pits, let's see how much of a gap he may have gained on the cars behind.
Schaus now is your leader. He stopped last on 46, so we expect him any time.
Yeah, and again, 46 is good for a fuel safe situation, but you can't make it to 150 with two 46s.
No.
He would need like a 54 to do a 50-lap stint at the end. So we imagine that we'll see him coming in here very shortly.
Eckert is out in front of Stouffer. That's the key battle right there. Schaus hitting pit road. Teed now going to pick up the lead just by staying out. Unless he makes that turn down the pit road, which he is right here. Teed coming to pit road. It's going to hand it over to Eckert. And that should end our pit cycle this time around. And Stouffer is a lot closer than the margin was last time between first and second. In fact, it was a big... Oh, my goodness. Stouffer really had the roll out of it. That was Joseph Morales. I don't know if Morales knew that Stouffer was coming. And now they're 3 wide down the backstretch, going into 3 and 4. That's going to cost Stouffer big time, time-wise. He actually had about 2 seconds to Eckert. Now it's 4 seconds. That last lap was just bad. Wrong place, wrong time for everything.
That was a lot of cars and a lot of movement at the same time that poor Chris Stouffer probably didn't really see coming. There was a car leaving pit lane. There was a car coming down low. There was all to play for there. But it looks like Stouffer managed to avoid trouble there. But the 3 seconds that he picked up during that pit stop rotation seems to have expanded now, especially as he had to basically stop for the car exiting pit lane and the car that was coming down off 1 and 2 there. So unfortunate for Chris Stouffer, but yeah, we have a full pit stop rotation done again now.
Yeah,
so
one more, yeah.
We're gonna probably just equalize out here and go for another full green flag stint.
If you're just joining us, welcome. This is RaceVerse coverage of the Dark Horse DW12 series coming to you from the Milwaukee Mile. We've completed 94 of a scheduled 150 laps. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Chris Stouffer is now 4.2 to the leader.
So you mentioned that Eric Schaus had stayed out the longest. He has now picked up yet another spot or two.
Yep.
Climbing his way from below the top 10 start. Now he's sitting in the top 5 position, and he's battling Mark Cohn. And the fact that he stayed out the longest, if he keeps his trend going, he's going to have the shortest pit stop right at the end of the race, which may be all it takes to pick up a spot or two for on track, whereas he can't pick it up while he's actually racing. So if he's able to stay out for another 45 laps or so, he'll have a very short tank of fuel to fill, and he may even skip the tire if the tires are heating and living and not wearing as much as they want. Then he could probably pick up a couple spots just by not taking tires as well.
There is the track temperature situation, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 66 ambient. Jeff Drake in chat wants to know, Andrew, do you like Sundrop? I guess that's who's that car? That is Putski's.
That was Casey Putski, yeah. Unfortunately, Jeff, I have not had Sundrop before, so.
I don't think I have either.
I have had the Monster, or not the Monster. What was the energy drink that Marco Andretti had on his car? Venom. I haven't had the Venom.
Yep.
I haven't had the Venom energy drink either. So, unfortunately, I haven't supported much of the Andretti Autosport sponsorship beverages of sorts. So, when I'm in the Midwest, I'll have to try some Sundrop. and see how it tastes. But I can't answer that question, Jeff. I'm sorry.
So, question for you: when you, I don't know if you recall when these cars ran regularly on the series. So, from 2012 to 2017, they have that LED on the airbox. Currently, if you see right now, I'll try to zoom in on. I can't get a closer zoom in on Eckert, but you see the 0-1 on the airbox that says he's in first place. And then also, if I look at Stouffer, his car will say 0-2 on it for second place. Back when these cars ran, when they would go into the pit, that would turn into a bit of a stopwatch, and it would show people how long that they were in the pit. I believe also on road courses, it would blink if the driver was on push to pass. Maybe with such a push to pass, maybe with such a push to pass controversy that we're currently going through right now, maybe they need to have a blinking LED on the car to signify when they're on the button or not.
That would be something. You'd see the rear wing now has some LED lights that
I like those.
That blink when they're stalled or something like that. So, I think it'd be very easy to show some sort of LED impersonation once the cars go on the push to pass, but. That would be very bad for the cars that are following, showing that they're trying to defend from being passed from. So, yeah, it's good for the fans. I think the LED was mostly for the fan situation and not so much for the cars around them. So, I don't know if that would be a good thing or not for the whole health of the series.
I thought I saw someone said Formula E or something uses some sort of light to let people know, like lights above the their roll cage, their roll bar, that will blink or something if they're on push to pass or something like that. I could be wrong. If someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about, go ahead and fill me in. But yeah, there's one other series that I think I saw some video of here since St. Petersburg Gate. That showed when push to pass was being activated. But anyways, we're watching Mark Cohn back here in fourth. He has Eric Schaus, the points leader, right on him.
Yeah, Eric Schaus is not wanting to sit where he is. He has been on somewhat of a fuel save, as we mentioned, but he wants by Mark Cohn, and he wants by Mark Cohn very soon. So he's been trying to set him up for a couple laps now. Hasn't quite got the clean air on the exit. Yeah, that's the first time he's had the nice clean air on the outside to make the run. I actually think he's got some sort of momentum going into turn one.
A little bit of
doing a little bit of a crossover.
Right,
I think he's gonna have him into three.
Oh, Cohn, a bit of the fade down to the bottom. That's not a block. If he moved up again, that would have been a block.
That's a great move on the outside. Eric been taking
Cohn
the outside
coming to pit
for quite
road.
a while.
So this Cohn coming to pit road early for his final stop.
Yeah, we could do this in about 43, 44 laps.
He went 26 laps on that stint.
So I think Mark is hoping that there is a caution sometime in the next, 20 to 25 laps or so that would springboard him to the front and get him to the end. But you got to do quite a fuel save from here to make it to the end.
Eckert, the leader by now 6 seconds. He does have lap traffic in front of him in the form of Charles Teed. Teed actually is in 7th spot. He's had some pace, so we really shouldn't be holding up.
Iker Peguero's high in turn 4. I think he saved it.
Yeah, he did.
I was watching Mark Cohn come out of the pits there as I watched Iker go high, and yeah, he pitted on end of 107, which actually might be just close enough if he saves just a teaspoon of fuel at a time is all you need. Just kind of do a little bit of a lift and coast into turn 3, a little bit of lift and coast into turn 1. Do that for half a stint. Find a car to partner up with, and.
And I think we got Jim Herrick says 4D Racewear checking in chat. He says the undercut is powerful. And while you're there, Jim, I should mention that tonight's race coverage helped brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made for sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in today's stream description. It's 4D Racewear, proud sponsor of RaceVerse, the Tuesday night IndyCar Oval Series broadcast that we do, the IIS broadcast, which have been fantastic. We've been getting a lot of eyeballs on that, and of course their continued long-term support of the Dark Horse DW12 series.
Looks like Joseph Morales just did his last pit stop. He's come out on track now. He's about 2 laps. I believe he's 2 laps down. Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe some fresh tires will help him pick up a couple spots if he's able to do some faster laps and figure it out.
Peterson's back.
Yeah, we got Peterson as well. Peterson's back on track again. Unfortunately, he's 3 laps down. Might have had some sort of difficulty there in the pit lane.
Forsyth pit road.
Mark Murphy, same thing. He's 2 laps down after that bizarre random incident he had on pit road as well. Nice clean stop from Forsyth there. Don't light him up too much on the exit.
Very, very carefully. Tiptoe.
He was in that battle with Stouffer and I guess it wasn't Cohn, right? Yeah, it looks like Cohn had pitted. So it was really just Stouffer he was battling with, but Forsyth's come out in some traffic now, so hopefully he can quickly dispose of Mark Murphy up ahead of him to get some time back and not be held up too much, and see if he can maybe pick up a couple seconds on Rafi.
Now Doug South up to 7th. Teed in 6th. Teed now 1 lap down, so the leader is lapped up to P5. Gary Lovern, very quiet race today, very consistent, is in now the top 5. He last stopped 31. He's on 31 laps on his current stint. Last stopped on 86, so he's still looking to make his final stop. Matt Wagner is in 4th. Matty, 29 laps on the current stint. Last time pitted on 89. You mentioned Schaus as the one to watch, as possibly maybe getting to another position on his next pit stop because of how short it's going to be. Because you're going to have a short stop because of a short fill. He is 3rd. He last pitted on 91. He's 28 laps into his current stint. Yeah,
Matt's had a pretty quiet race, honestly. We haven't really seen him in battles. We haven't really seen him dropping forward or dropping back or going forward. So he's kind of, I'm not really sure what strategy he's on. He might be on a similar Eric Schaus strategy of saving some fuel and staying out of trouble and maybe having a good last stop here. I wonder, with such few laps to go when these guys pit, will they take tires? I think they're just going to take fuel and save themselves a few seconds in the pit stop and try and just go for the end there. But got to be careful on the pit out. Eric Peterson's in the box. And he's out of the box. Nice clean stop there from Eric Peterson. Trying to pick up from whatever he fell off of there in the second pit stop, but he's back out on track now. And we got Chris Stouffer down pit road now. That's interesting. We'll have to see where he comes out in regards to Craig Forsyth. Gets into his box quite nicely up on the jacks. I don't see any issues. Looks like Stouffer is going to have a nice clean stop there. Where is Craig Forsyth? He's coming down the front straightaway. I think Forsyth's going to get him. Yep, Forsyth's got him right down the back straightaway there, so put Craig Forsyth back up into the net P2 spot. And Rafi, we're just going to sit here and wait for him, I suppose.
He is blinking, but still our leader by 10 seconds now over Schaus.
Yeah, Schaus has got nice clean track now, so no more fuel save, just go for it. He's done a couple of laps in the 5s and 6s. Whereas Rafi's fastest laps were in the 4s, so I don't think he's going to gain so much on Rafi necessarily, but he's running fast enough where he actually might be able to jump both Stouffer and Forsyth, and I'm still wondering if Schaus is going to take tires. If he's running as hard as he is now, he may want to consider it, but if he wants to try and jump a couple more spots and keep his championship lead, I think he's going to probably not take tires.
The general rule, at least for me, is if you have to get more than 5 seconds worth of fuel, it's worth it to change tires. Tires can be changed in that time. Go ahead.
Stouffer and Murphy very close off turn 2 there. Side by side down the back straightaway. Stouffer pushed up the track just a little bit, but Murph saw him coming and gave him just enough room he needed. But if Murph kept his line, that was contact right there. So Stouffer's on the move. He's fresh out of the pits. Looks like he wants to keep going.
Wagner coming off of pit road. That's his final stop.
I see Eric Schaus is running 6s and 5s. He's pushing the envelope. He's going much faster than he was when he was sitting behind Mark Cohn.
Yep.
For obvious reasons, he's now in clean air and he's finding the optimal line. But someone like Eric Schaus is thinking right now, I got to keep this championship lead. And starting deep in the field as he was, he needs to find some sort of advantage to do what he can. So he's coming close to his pit stop right now. I'm pretty sure within the next 5 or 6 laps, you're going to see him down pit road, and then you're really going to see how the rest of this race will shape out.
Last lap, 166.9 versus Eckert's 166.8.
I think we only got Schaus and Eckert left to pit from here. Everybody else is 1 lap down. So if a caution were to come out right now, it'll just be Eckert and Schaus on the lead lap, and the rest of the guys trapped a lap down. So these guys have done quite a good job and trying to keep their positions here. But yeah, within less than 5 laps, we're going to see both Eckert and Schaus on pit road.
Lovren makes his last stop, coming out in 9th. Eckert is now encountering lap traffic, and it's lap traffic that both have pace, and now he decides he's going to just use it to pit now, which is probably not a bad idea. Down to the limiter in time for the cones. Now riding down this pit road, 45 miles an hour. Going to find his spot.
Yeah, and Schaus stays out another lap, so he's going to lead a lap in this race, which is something you can kind of pound your chest about. But yeah, Rafi's got a good, clean pit stop there. Comes out of the pits and just takes the access road, and I believe he's come out well ahead of Forsyth and Stouffer. Yeah,
just take her easy.
Very much ahead of them. So Schaus is the only one left to pit, and pray for no yellows, because if yellow comes out right now, it's dangerous for all.
Well, Teed gets around Eckert for position. I believe Teed still has to stop. He stopped on lap 91.
Yeah, so let's not forget Teed.
42 laps into his stint, sorry.
Mahotsky also comes off pit road, so he was saving as well. And we got Jeff Heissong and, yes, Doug South entering pit road right now. Schaus stays out another lap, so I'm telling you, Gary, he's not taking tires on the stop. It's 15 laps to go. Just got to come in, grab some fuel and go. And this will be very interesting where he comes out.
The old splash and go, stop and go.
Mahotsky very high in turn 4 as Charles
he's
T
really slow coming into the pit. Is he out of fuel? Fuel?
T, you mean?
Schaus was really slow coming in on the pit road. He started pitting a lot earlier than at least I anticipated, but no, he's good to go. He's still powered.
Yeah, I was watching Teed and Mahotsky in turn 4. Look at Mahotsky to take the wall down. But
he goes up on the jack, so he's changing tires.
So he's changing the tires. Yeah. So Stouffer Forsyth come through turn 1.
7.8
2
seconds.
spots down. That's a questionable call for me. With so few laps left, you just want to get in and out of the pits as best you can. And Schaus is now.
We got a wreck under caution.
Wow, what a turn of events that was. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. And so much for the lead for Eckert. But let's watch this again. He just coming up to speed, and that back end, whoop. And he comes right up into the wall, bouncing off it, and Cohn. Just innocent bystander. Mark Cohn, last week's winner. Let's watch from his point of view. He had nowhere to go, so we'll just watch him down the front straight. He's probably ticking off the laps, saying to himself there, I'm coming to, 12 to go, whatever. We just got to get through these last couple of laps, no problem. Probably hears on his radio that so-and-so's on pit road coming off. You might even see him now a little bit right there at the wall. If he's looking at the apex and beyond, he probably sees it. But what he doesn't see is, well, this happened right here. And there's no place to go.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about this one, Gary. Like, it's not like Schaus was really trying to push it for so much. If you were trying to go for a position, I could see you trying to hustle it out of the pits, but he already lost second and third to Forsyth and Stouffer. At this point, you just kind of want to maintain exactly where you are, and he just gave himself a little bit extra stress or anxiety or something like that trying to lead the pit lane, and he kind of messed it up coming right off the curb there.
Here it goes, just lights him up. And the back end comes around, tries to counter steer, gets too much of the grass. It catches right up in the wall. And poor Mark Cohen's right there when he rebounds.
It's one of those things where poor Mark Cohen didn't see anything coming. So hopefully he can get that repaired. But
yep.
Yeah, if I were Schaus, keep your tires warm, keep everything warm, and you'll have a lot of grip coming out of the pit lane. I'm not really sure why he took the tires there.
So
you're just putting yourself in a spot where you have cold tires on a sketchy pit out as it is. This is the best time for you to come in and out on the same tire temperatures or similar tire temperatures to how you came in. So a little questionable there, but unfortunately that means that Eric Schaus is now out of the race and ruined any chance of a top 5.
Once again, if you're just joining us, welcome. We are now on the late stages, closing laps of the 150 lapper here in the DW12 Dark Horse DW12 series at the Milwaukee Mile. This is round 7. We're currently Rafi Eckert, who has commanded the last 2/3 of this race pretty handily, is our leader, and we're coming to roughly 10 to go. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. That next race is tomorrow night. We're going to kick off round 1 of the ISRA Xfinity Series. And that will be Murph and I in the booth for that one because I know nothing about Xfinity cars. He does, so he'll make me sound smarter, which is really hard to do. So he's the master at it. So we got Rafi Eckert, and right now I wonder if right behind him is South and Putski. I wonder if they're going to be cycled back to allow Forsyth and Wagner to get right up to the leader. I wonder if for that part of the race that timing and scoring will allow that to happen. Yeah, I think so. I think Husky's moving over, and I think South is moving back. So yeah, that we are at that leader a point where the leaders all can come together. So coming to green, this time by lights out on the pace truck, is Eckert, is Forsyth, is Wagner. That's your top 3. Gary Lovard, great run by him. He's in that dark green Velocity Online Racing entry. He is 4th. Chris Stouffer is 5th. Mark Cohn got repaired with his fast repair. He's not out of this yet. Charles Teed got his lap back. He's at the tail end of this group. I don't think he will be able to join the leaders. I think by virtue of, I think he must have got the lucky dog. I think they do have lucky dogs enabled on this one. So he gets that one. We're getting ready to go green. It's going to be interesting. Last 10 laps, truck pulls off. Here we go.
This is the first caution that these guys have gone through. So they've been racing for 130-something laps, full tilt, and this is the first break they get. So we're going to see who overcomes the quiet and less stressful caution flag. And looks
car on
like
the inside wall.
Yes, yeah.
And nope, no toe. Excuse me, no yellow, goes to a toe. So we're Eckert.
Charles Teed.
Yep. No, that was Peterson. Eckert continues to lead. Forsyth can't. It's not closing. Well, maybe a little bit that time. Eckert's got much younger tires, only 11 laps compared to Forsyth's 30-lap-old tires. And that might be the what's going to decide this thing. Stouffer's worked his way up around Lovern. He is now in 4th. Lovern's 5th. Cohn trying to get around Lovern now so he can get up in the top 5 and recover a little, or make this finish at least a little less painful.
Yeah, I just went back to look at the incident. It looks like Peterson was the correct car in the wall there, but Teed managed to get himself into a spin behind that.
Oh, okay.
Unrelated.
Okay.
So Teed got himself going again. No yellow. Yeah, Rafi's going. Craig Forsyth is trying to keep up as best he can,
Yeah.
but it looks like the big loser in that one is Stouffer. He's now lost the podium to Matt Wagner.
And he actually is in pit road. He hit the wall and is towed out. He is done.
Unfortunate for Chris Stouffer there to hit the wall.
I'm not sure what he did. We're watching the leader here, 5 to go. Greg Forsythe, and then Matt Wagner. We might actually start getting a battle for second here in the next couple laps. Wagner is 169.3 last time by. Forsythe 168.4.
Mark Murphy moves up into P5, I believe that is.
He is P8, unfortunately. He's 2 laps down.
Okay. He's trying to get some laps back then from
Yeah.
from what it seems like. He moved past Mark Cohen on that last lap, so he's got a head of steam under him. His car is completely fine. So yeah, we got the top 3 kind of spread out here, so it'll be a very anticlimactic last couple laps unless someone can put something together here.
Final lap through 1 and 2. He blinks, doesn't drop. Down the backstretch for the last time into 3 and 4. He can cruise home now. Rafi Eckert, the champion of the VOR DW12 series, gets a win here in the Dark Horse DW12 series. That makes him the 17th different driver to get a win here in the Dark Horse DW12 series, and joins his teammate Edson Santos, who has one victory here in this series as well. Congratulations to Rafi Eckert. Let's look at the remainder of the field. Craig Forsythe, P2, another podium for him, and Matt Wagner, a solid podium for him in P3. Let me queue up the replays here real quick, and we'll get into the final standings and interviews. All right, let's take a look at the final results here from the Milwaukee Mile. Your winner, Rafi Eckert, led 100 laps and then improved 2 spots, gets the win. P2 for Craig Forsythe, among the leaders all day, just never really was able to get to the lead point. Matt Wagner, same way, didn't lead a lap, but was among the leaders all day, finishes 3rd. That is your podium. Lover, great finish for him in 4th. Cone had a little bit of misfortune, caught up in as an innocent bystander in the incident with Schaus, but he had the faster pair, managed to keep going and finished 5th. Teed 6th. Morales 7th. Good finish for him, up 9 spots. Mark Murphy 8th. Doug South finishes 9th. A top 10 finish for him. Great job. Schaus, the big loser here. Your points leader is 10th. Heisong 11th. Pagero 12th. Stouffer 13th. Not a day that he would like to remember. Bahutsky at 14th. Peterson 15th. After starting from the pole. Started off good. Led the first, pretty much the entire first stint. But then after that, really didn't see from him again. But that does feel good to do some race domination as he did at the front. So maybe he can roll that into a good performance for next week when we go to Kentucky. Jim Herrick rounds out the 16-car field in 16th.
What a race it really was. There's 140 laps or so of green flag racing, and the guys had to kind of calm down and go for a last 5 to 6 lap sprint there. So it's definitely not something that they were expecting, especially when it went green for as long as it did. Everybody kind of minded their P's and Q's and kept themselves rolling. But yeah, sometimes these things happen where you have to reset yourself, especially for someone like Rafi that had that big lead and then had to manage to find a way to keep ahead of the guys up ahead of him. So Yeah, what a race this was. A lot of action from the top to the bottom.
Before we bring up Matty Wagner into the booth, I just want to remind everybody that tonight's race coverage has been brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on their link in today's description. And their car finished second. We'll talk to Craig Forsyth momentarily. We'll get Matty Wagner in here, if we can find him. Oh, he's already in the waiting room. Attaboy. Matt Wagner here in the booth with Gary and the Catalyst, Andrew Wood. So tell us about your race, really. I mean, this is one of those races that there weren't a lot of cars. There's 16 cars, probably the perfect number for this size track. You weren't really always encountering lap traffic, although there seemed to be a fair share of it in the second half of the race. You didn't lead any laps. You pretty much held on to your position, maintained where your spot on the grid and where you finished. Limiting mistakes to no innocent spin outs, not smacking the wall, not doing any speeding on pit road. Just a nice safe run for P3 that's going to pay off well because your chief point rival didn't have a great day.
That's a normal kind of my kind of race. I like to run kind of clean, you know?
Yeah.
Hello. That's me for like the first 3 weeks, and I don't want to talk about the rest of them. But the first set of pit stops really set me back a bunch. When I saw the Ralphie Eckert, pretty much, I was watching his line, and he had a very interesting line. I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, okay, let me try and duplicate that. And it kind of worked for a while until I got to traffic, and it really slowed me down. So the first pit stop, I lost 3 spots. Very poor entry, very poor exit, just, yeah. And I made up for the second one and took the track position. I know some of the guys were in the chat with me, say we're going to pit a little bit early. It paid off for them. It paid off for Craig because I was going to do the exact same thing, but I probably should have pitted. I was hoping Shouts would tow me along because it was a really hard and dirty air to do nice fast laps.
Yeah, Matt, it looked like you had kind of one of your more quiet races that I've seen in quite some time in any series you're in, but enough that you mentioned that your first pit stop was kind of a bad one. I didn't really see it that way. It seemed like you were always kind of quietly up towards the front and doing what you could to pick up any spots you could. So my question is, did you take into account any sort of fuel saving in this race? Was it easy to kind of do that, or did you always find that you had to sort of have someone tow you along, like you were mentioning with Eric Schaus there?
No, I was fuel saving the first, taking care of my tires the first run. I just saw, Eric walk away from me because I wasn't pushing the car that hard. There's no reason to. And so manage your tires, manage a little bit of fuel. We had a little pit strategy coming in. It really didn't work out because, that caution just threw a wrench. So the tire saving planned out because I was reeling Eric back in, and he was, as soon as I got to him, it was just like, oh man, it's so bad. I probably should have been more aggressive and tried to overtake him. I kind of regret that. The clean air is probably way more important here.
Do you think that a no tire stop at the end may have been more beneficial for someone in your case as we got towards the end of the race?
I would be risking of spinning off, coming off the pit road exit. Like, I don't know who spun off to come up the exit. I guess someone tried the no tire strat coming out of pit road. I'm not in favor of spinning coming off of pit road and losing time in the process. And I really think taking tires was the way to go.
Well, just for your reference, Eric actually did take tires.
Yeah,
we saw him go on the jacks.
Okay.
So he didn't do the no tire stop, which actually that's why I asked the question, because I think the warmer tires, even though they were worn, they were warm, so they'd be able to have a little bit more grip on the bottom line. So I was kind of shocked that he actually took the tires there, which is why I asked the question. Would it be worth it to go for the risky strategy of not going tires there?
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, tire heat was a big factor. The wear wasn't, was not really all that there here tonight. It was just more downforce, as you would say. That when the tires came off, they were pretty hot. So it's during that caution, I elected to stay out and let the tires cool off, and it worked out great for us. We managed P3, and please call EMTs to pit road. Hopefully Christopher's all right and doesn't have a direct drive wheel, because that was wow. Yeah, I saw that in my mirror.
But we didn't see it on the broadcast at all. I didn't get a chance to replay it, but we did see the damage done. It looks like a pretty wicked hit. So before I give it to Mike for shout outs and anything like that, just to let you know that you have cut in the Schauss's lead. You are now only behind by 8. Points are out now. Schauss has 290 points to your 282. And you have yourself a 36-point buffer back to Stouffer in third. So a little bit of wiggle room that you have, and you're currently right on top of the leader going into Kentucky, which I'm sure is going to be a good track for you. But shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, go ahead. It's yours for getting on the podium. The mic's all yours, man.
Already. Shout-out to Marcone and the Murph and Jeff Highsong, all my chat. You guys are awesome. Always as usual. Good friends. Good guys. Shout out to TWR, all the boys, my teammates, and you guys for the great broadcast. Like I said, Andrew Wood, I like your insights. Gary Gatto, just being Gary Gatto.
It's just all Andrew Wood. That's what makes the broadcast good.
No, it doesn't. You're such a liar. I know
I'm scraping for content always.
Gary, I know your schedule is really cooked. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow night too. So guys, take it easy and have a good night.
We'll see you next week and maybe tomorrow as well. Congrats, man.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep. See ya.
And we'll bring up Craig Forsyth now. Hey, Craig, another week, another podium. Congratulations, P2. We kind of looked at the age of your tires versus Rafi's there at the end, and we're not sure that this is really going to be a exciting finish to the end. It was a little exciting for you kind of holding off Wagner there for second, but that last sprint, you really didn't have much for Rafi, did you?
No, we had nothing for him. I mean, our tires were twice as old as his.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be sure if I went in how many of the guys, like if I had 4 guys stay out.
Yeah.
There was no way I was going to be able to get through 4 guys in 10 laps. So I figured it was position protection. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Chris was coming, but I think even had he gotten by Matt before he cannonballed into the pit lane there, even if he had gotten by Matt, I don't think he could have caught me with the 4 laps left. I think it was, I mean, the new tires are good, but track position and the limited number of laps left are better.
Yeah, Craig, we all know you as the fuel saver. We mentioned it 750 times during the week. So how big was the fuel save during this race? Did you find yourself actually finding a time to save fuel, or did you think that it was all about trying to get the track position you could? And if you were to save enough fuel towards the end, could you do a no tire stop? That was kind of the big debate we had up here in the booth.
Well, it was different. I mean, when Chris and I were keeping up with Ralph, I think at just before the halfway point there, we were 1, 2, or we were basically, I think we were 1, 2, 3 at that point. Mm-hmm. And we spent, because we'd broken away, and then we spent a couple laps stuck behind lap traffic that we just couldn't get by, and that allowed everyone to bunch back up and Ralph to get away. At which point we're never going to catch back up to him because, leader in clean air is just gone. So at that point, I switched to, every pit stop was going to be a gamble. I'm going to undercut every pit stop. So, and that worked out. I mean, I went in fourth on the second last pit stop, came out in third, went in third on the second last pit stop, came out in second. And that was just the power of the undercut. But I mean, it's such a monstrous roll of the dice that a caution's not going to come out, because if a caution comes out, your race is over because you're 2 laps down.
Well, you got to, you got to make sure that your pit lane time and your time in and out of the box is good. Plus the exit exit lane there, which was treacherous for pretty
It
much
was
everyone for the most part.
horrifically treacherous. I was half throttling it in second, and even then, you had to dance the wheel to start getting on the power going down the back straight. It was pretty sketchy.
Well, in your limited number of starts this season, we're 7 races in. You only started 4, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and now you've moved up into the top 5 in the points championship to 4th. So if you keep it up, you might even have a shot here at the end for not completing the full season. So maximizing all these starts of yours is the way to go, apparently. So congratulations on yet another podium. I know you got folks and friends, family, sponsors, team bosses, teammates you want to shout out to. So go right ahead. You earned it once again with yet another podium.
Yeah, thanks. No, first off, I got to thank my wife for making dinner because I'm looking forward to it.
Good one, very good one. The smartest shout out yet. Yes.
And no, I got to thank. Jim and Chris. Jim had the mistake on pit exit there. Luckily, it didn't bring out a caution. It just wrecked his race. But I know he was disgruntled at himself over that. It's so easy to do. And then Chris just said he was not lifting. He was not lifting. He was going for it. And I think all the ambulances came in and carried that poor broken back guy away. Hopefully he'll heal up for next week. So yeah, the whole 40 Racewear crew, and you guys doing the broadcast, Gary, Andrew, I love hearing the broadcast. Love watching them back. Love all our viewers. And thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for everyone for racing. It's Milwaukee. Lap traffic dictates everything. So it was a good race, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
We'll see you at the next. Go ahead.
Let me jump in here for a second. So some guy breaks his back in a crash, and you want him back in the car next week.
Well, that's the beauty of esports.
That would be the biggest recovery time for any driver ever. Meanwhile, I'm here saying, well, I see him actually in person at the Indy 500 in a couple weeks. If he broke his back, that's not good.
I think he was still doing over 200 when he hit that tire wall. So
we should go to the hospital at this point. We're not expecting him to reemerge on the pit lane here, but you could do wishful thinking if you want, Craig. That's just what I have to say.
It's the beauty of esports, my friend.
Well, congratulations. We'll see you at the next one. But P2 tonight here at Milwaukee.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too. And we'll bring up the man himself. Here he is, Rafi Eckert. First win in the Dark Horse Series. He gets to join the ranks of the winners just along with his teammate Edson Santos. Man, you put a hurt on the whole field, man. You dominated the last 2/3 of this race. And it really started with your first pit stop. Talk about that and how your race went.
Yeah, that was a strong race for me. It's not a good start. I lose one position. Very, very hard to overtake anyone in equal condition. It's a very hard track to find the limit and balance the tire management and hold the pace. If you leave too much, you lose so much time per lap, and you cannot jet back after that. But I got a really fast pit stop and got the first position on lap 45. And all the race condition, tire saving, and traffic management made all the difference. Track position is out here. Even with the yellow flag, I stay on the first position today.
Yeah, Rafi, did you feel that when you were out in the lead, it was just easier to run consistent lines and take the most optimal line in order to get the best time per lap, because you were pushing sometimes 2-3 tenths faster than everybody else, and somehow you managed to figure out a line that was much better than everyone else. Did you feel like you had a little bit of extra secrets that no one else was able to discover?
Today I got on my best skill that are tire saving. That don't feel like I'm pushing, but running fast every time. Sometimes I slow down a bit to don't get so close with traffic. Very very risky movies, but happy with that result. My new steering wheel make a huge difference today.
Oh yeah, new steering wheel. What do you have?
Yeah, thank you for Camus Racing for that sponsorship. Thank you for our linear energy partnerships. That linear energy, Dr. Norberto, Sigma Crowdfunding, and J Construções. Now keep focused and get on track next week to got another win.
What wheel did you get? Is a Moza, Fanatec, GSI? What'd you get?
It's a Camus C5.
Okay. All right, that sounds pretty cool. Well,
it's the cheaper direct drive in the market. If anyone want to buy one, can talk with me here on Discord. I can send you a coupon code.
oh, there you go. Well, if anyone's looking for a new wheel, talk to today's winner. Congratulations, man. Let's see. You haven't had a very many starts in the series, but let's see. You have. You are in the top 10 and the points with the win. So if you can make any more races, can you definitely move up into the standings. So, but congratulations on the win. Like I said, dominating win today. We haven't seen a win that dominant on an oval in a long time. At least it's been that way for me. So congratulations. Anybody else you want to say hi to, shout out to, other than Leaner Energy and your friends and family? Because you had a ton of people in chat cheering for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for being with us, Rafi, and we will see you hopefully at the next race.
Take care, Rafi.
Sometimes I know the language barrier sometimes makes these interviews a little tough, and I know that they do their best. I always wish that we had a ready reserve Brazilian speaking person to put in the booth and say, "Okay, now translate." But yeah, I know I could imagine though in any language, the man's probably pretty happy.
Yeah, he drove quite a race there, pulling away from the rest of the pack many times. So he found a secret around Milwaukee that someone like me might even want to try and follow him a little bit and see what kind of lines he takes.
Right now, it's the ancient Brazilian secret is the line around here right now, and he, like I said, he just really whomped everybody, led 100 laps.
We can only hope that Joseph Newgarden or someone in the real life series is watching this race so they can pick up how to drive this track later on this year.
For sure. So once more with the points situation, Schaus, despite the bad finish, is still the leader at 290. Wagner 282. Stouffer, despite his incident, and it sounded like we missed a whopper of an accident there, 246, Forsyth 212. Jari Brubacher not making the lineup, lost a spot, but he's still in the top 5, 197. Teed, Peterson, Santos, Eckert. So Santos and Eckert, the teammates are right together. Pahutsky make up your top 10. Next week, you will be racing at, I believe you said Indianapolis, right? So in the EIS?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And I believe that both Forsyth and Stouffer will be racing that as well. So some non-starts from them coming next week as well.
Yeah, well, good luck to you. We'll have Ryan with us here in the booth. But, man, thanks for being with us in the booth, and thanks for making me sound smart and look good. You do an awesome effort each and every time you're here in the booth with me, so thanks a lot.
Yes, of course.
Let's get on out of here. We clear off all the overlays, and we'll send everybody on their merry way tonight. So that's it for today. Once again, your podium for tonight at Milwaukee is Rafi Eckert with the dominating win. Craig Forsyth, another podium, finishes P2, and Matty Wagner manages to get closer to the points lead. Finishes third, is now second in the points, just a hair behind our points leader, which is still Eric Schaus. Join Ryan and myself next week for round 8 of the Dark Horse DW12 series as the teams and drivers head to Kentucky Speedway. This should be a good one. Coverage this season begins around 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 8:00 p.m. Eastern. As always, you can find everything right here on YouTube at youtube.com/RaceVerse. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please help support RaceVerse with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. Do want to thank everybody in chat that were out there cheering for you, especially the Rafi Eckert cheering section. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being part of the broadcast. If you're new, click subscribe while you got to hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of RaceVerse other iRacing programming. Keep your browsers set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge of all of iRacing. RaceVerse, we know what Indy means, and it's almost a month of May, so we're going to see lots of Indy coming up. Dark Horse DW12 series is helped brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on their link in today's description. Track cams provided by Track Cams for Gourmets. Get your own track cams for your own personal highlight reel at trackcams22.com or click on the link in today's description. For business inquiries to learn more about RaceVerse, what we do, visit raceverse.com, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. So for the Catalyst, Andrew Wood, who will be good luck in Indy next week, man, and everyone else at RaceVerse, I'm Gary Gotzo saying all happy Sunday. Thanks for watching, and all our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed. God bless. Come home safe. Catch us again right here next week in Kentucky for the next race of the Dark Horse DW12 series. Good night.